Kim Tae-ho wiped the sweat from his face as he looked at the deep hole in the ground. The alien machines made loud noises as they dug deeper into the earth. 15 years ago, he had been building spaceships. Now he was digging holes for creatures that looked like giant insects with too many arms. The Galactic Council had come to Earth with their big ships and strange weapons. They said humans were dangerous. They said humans needed to be watched and controlled. Most people believed them after the first cities burned. Tae-ho remembered the day when the sky turned red, and the Council ships landed in every major city on Earth. "Move faster, human," said the blue-skinned alien supervisor. Its voice came through a machine that made it sound like grinding metal. "The Council needs these materials by the end of the day." Tae-ho nodded and picked up his tools. Around him, hundreds of other humans worked in the same way. They all wore gray uniforms with numbers on their backs. Tae-ho was number 4721. He had not heard his real name spoken by an alien in 5 years. The work was hard and never ended. The Council wanted metals from deep in the earth. They wanted rare stones and crystals. They took everything valuable and sent it to their home worlds. In return, humans got food and shelter. Basic food in small rooms. Nothing more. During the lunch break, Tae-ho sat with his friend Park Jin-woo. Jin-woo worked in the administration building. He helped the Council keep track of human workers. Many people did not like Jin-woo because he worked with the aliens, but Tae-ho knew his friend was trying to help humans in small ways. "Things are getting worse," Jin-woo whispered as they ate their plain rice and vegetables. "I saw new orders today. The Council wants to move more families to the work camps." "What kind of orders?" Tae-ho asked quietly. "They want to separate children from their parents. They say it will help them learn better, but I think they want to make the children forget they are human." Tae-ho felt cold inside. He had heard stories about what happened to children in the Council schools. They came back different. They forgot their families. They forgot their culture. They only wanted to serve the Council. That evening, Tae-ho walked home through the narrow streets of the human sector. The buildings were gray and boring. No art was allowed. No bright colors, no music. The Council said these things made humans too emotional and unpredictable. As he walked, he heard a soft sound from an alley. He looked around to make sure no Council guards were watching, then stepped into the shadows. A young woman was kneeling beside a small radio device. She was wearing the same gray uniform as everyone else, but she had clever eyes that reminded Tae-ho of the engineers he used to work with. "You should not be out here," he whispered. "The patrols will come soon." The woman looked up at him. "I know you," she said. "You are Kim Tae-ho. You used to build ships before the Council came." "How do you know that?" "I am Lee Dubin. I work in communications. I help the Council with their messages, but I also listen to things they do not want me to hear." She showed him the small device. "This picks up signals from Council ships. That is very dangerous. If they catch you, I know. But I learned something today that changes everything." Dobbin's voice was urgent. "The Council is planning something terrible. They are not just controlling us. They want to destroy us completely." Tae-ho sat down beside her in the alley. "What do you mean?" "I heard them talking about the final solution for the human problem. They want to stop humans from having children. In 50 years, there will be no more humans anywhere in the galaxy." The words hit Tae-ho like a physical blow. He had always known the Council was cruel, but he thought they just wanted workers and slaves. He never imagined they wanted to end the human race completely. "Are you sure about this?" he asked. "Very sure. They called us a virus that spreads to other worlds. They said human ideas about freedom and independence are dangerous to their control over the galaxy." Tae-ho thought about his sister and her young children. He thought about all the humans working in the mines and factories. They were all living on borrowed time. "What can we do?" he asked. "They have better weapons, better ships, better everything." "Maybe," Dobbin said with a small smile. "But I found something else today. Something that might help us." She pulled out a data pad and showed him a map of the area. Red dots marked several locations in the mountains. "What are these?" "Old human military sites. They were abandoned when the Council took over. But I think there might be things there that we can use. Weapons, technology, maybe even ships. The Council would have found them by now. Not if they were hidden well enough. My father worked for the government before the invasion. He once told me that Earth's leaders knew they might lose. He said they prepared for the long fight." Tae-ho stared at the map. It showed 3 sites within walking distance. If Dobbin was right, there might be hope after all. "This is very dangerous," he said finally. "Everything is dangerous now." But doing nothing is the most dangerous thing of all. The sound of council patrol vehicles grew closer. Dabin quickly packed away her equipment. Before she left, she touched Teho's arm. "Meet me tomorrow after work, behind the old school building. If you want to try to save our people, I need your help." Teho walked home slowly, thinking about everything he had heard. The council wanted to destroy humanity completely, but maybe, just maybe, Earth's old leaders had left them a way to fight back. That night he lay on his small bed and looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere up there, the council was making plans to end the human race. But down here on Earth, a few humans were beginning to make different plans. For the first time in 15 years, Kim Tae-ho felt something he had almost forgotten. He felt hope. Choi Min-ji pretended to clean the floors in the council communication center while she listened to the aliens talk. She had been working there for 3 years, always keeping her head down and acting like she did not understand their language. But Min-ji understood everything. She had been a military officer before the council came. The gray-skinned council member was angry about something. "The humans in Sector 7 stopped working yesterday," it said to another alien. "They claim their equipment is broken, but our scanners show everything is fine." "Punishment?" asked the second alien. "Not yet. We need the materials they dig. But if more sectors stop working, we may need to use stronger methods." Minji kept cleaning and listening. She had heard about the work stoppage in Sector 7. It was starting to happen in other places too, small acts of resistance that the council was beginning to notice. Her cleaning brought her near the main communication panel. Quickly, she placed a tiny device behind the control board. Han Seok-jin had made it for her. It was smaller than a coin and would copy all the messages that went through the system. That evening, Minji met with Seok-jin in an abandoned building. The young man was good with computers and machines. He had kept the hidden communication network running between different human settlements. "I got your message about the meeting tonight," Seok-jin said, as he connected the device to his computer. "More people want to join us, good. But first, look at what we captured today." The screen filled with alien text. Seok-jin had learned to read their language by studying captured council documents. His face grew serious as he translated. "Minji, this is incredible. Look at these locations." He pointed to a list of coordinates on the screen. "These match the sites that Dabin found. The council knows about the old military bases, but they think they are empty." "Are they empty?" "According to this, the council sent teams to check them 5 years ago. They found nothing and marked them as cleared. But look at this note." Seok-jin highlighted a line of text. "The search teams only looked at the surface levels. They never went deep underground." Minji felt excitement growing in her chest, so there might still be something there. More than something. "I cross-referenced these locations with old government records that I saved on hidden servers. These were not just military bases. They were research centers where human scientists worked on projects combining our technology with captured alien equipment." "What kind of projects?" "Weapons, ships, communication systems, things that were designed to work specifically for humans." Seok-jin pulled up more files. "It says here that the technology responds to human brain patterns. Other species cannot use it. Why would they make it that way?" "Smart planning." "If the council captured the technology, it would be useless to them. Only humans can activate it." Minji studied the information. If this was true, it changed everything. The resistance would have real weapons instead of just tools and improvised explosives. "We need to get this information to Tae-ho and Dabin immediately," she said. "And we need to contact the other resistance groups around the world." That same night across the city, Yang Soo-min was working late in the council research facility. She was one of the few humans allowed to work with alien scientists, but only because her knowledge of biology was useful to them. They studied human genetics and behavior, always looking for better ways to control the population. Soo-min was examining blood samples when she noticed something strange. The council had been testing a new method of mental control on volunteers from the work camps. It was supposed to make humans more obedient and less creative. But the tests were failing. She looked closer at the data. The control method worked on other alien species, but something in human brain chemistry made them resistant. Not completely immune, but much harder to affect than other races. "Interesting, is it not?" said a voice behind her. Soo-min turned to see Dr. Vex, the lead council scientist. It looked like a tall, thin human, but with silver skin and too many joints in its arms. "The tests are not working as expected," Soo-min said carefully. Indeed. Your species continues to surprise us. We have used this mental conditioning on 17 different alien races. It works perfectly on all of them. But humans... Dr. Vex made a sound that might have been frustration. There is something different about human minds. Different how? More chaotic. More unpredictable. When we try to impose order and control, the human brain finds ways to resist. It adapts. It creates new neural pathways that we did not expect. Sumin tried to hide her excitement. This was incredibly important information. If humans were naturally resistant to the Council's mind control, it explained why they were so afraid of human ideas spreading to other species. "What will you do about it?" she asked. "We are developing stronger methods, but it is taking much longer than planned." Dr. Vex moved closer. "Tell me, Sumin, do you ever have dreams about the time before we came?" The question was a trap. Sumin knew the Council was always testing human loyalty. "Sometimes I dream about my old work, but I am grateful for the opportunity to learn from Council science." "Of course you are." Dr. Vex did not sound convinced. "Continue your analysis. I want a full report on why the conditioning is not working." After the alien left, Sumin sat alone with the data. She realized that humans had something the Council feared more than weapons or ships. They had minds that could not be easily controlled. Minds that kept fighting even when everything seemed hopeless. Meanwhile, in the mountains outside the city, Tai Ho and Da Bin were exploring the first of the hidden facilities. They had climbed for hours in the dark, following the coordinates from Da Bin's map. The entrance was hidden behind rocks and plants. It looked like a natural cave, but Da Bin's scanner showed metal structures deep inside. "Are you sure about this?" Taeho asked as they prepared to go in. "No," Da Bin admitted, "but we have to try." They used small lights to find their way through the tunnels. After walking for 20 minutes, they reached a heavy door with human writing on it. "Emergency access. Authorized personnel only." Da Bin placed her hand on a scanner beside the door. Nothing happened. "Maybe it is broken," Taeho said. "Wait." Da Bin tried something else. She spoke clearly to the door. "This is Li Da-bin, daughter of Li Quan-su, former director of advanced projects. I request emergency access under Protocol 7. The door made a soft sound and opened. Inside, lights came on automatically. They found themselves in a large room filled with equipment and weapons that looked both human and alien at the same time. The designs were familiar but enhanced with technology they had never seen before. "My father told me the code words when I was a child," Da Bin explained. "I thought they were just stories." Taeho picked up one of the weapons. It felt warm in his hands and seemed to respond to his touch. Text appeared on a small screen written in Korean. "Welcome, authorized user. System ready, Da-bin," he said quietly. "I think we just found our way to fight back." They spent hours exploring the facility. They found weapons, armor, communication equipment, and even small flying vehicles. Everything was designed for humans to use. Everything was ready and waiting. As they prepared to leave, Da Bin sent a coded message to Minji and the other resistance groups. "The sleeping giant is waking up." Lim Hyun-soo worked in the Council diplomatic office, translating messages between different alien species. Before the invasion, he had been Earth's ambassador to several countries. Now he helped the Council communicate with their subjects across the galaxy. What the Council did not know was that Hyun-soo was also listening to communications from other worlds. He had learned that Earth was not the only planet under Council control. There were dozens of species that had been conquered and enslaved just like humanity. Today, something was different. Messages were coming from 3 different star systems. The aliens sending these messages sounded excited and worried at the same time. "The humans have started fighting back," said a message from the Altair system. "Our people are asking why they do not fight like the humans do." Another message came from a world called Kepler 442b. "Human resistance broadcasts are reaching our population. We are having trouble controlling the unrest." Yunsu quickly copied all the messages and hid them in his personal files. The human resistance was not just affecting Earth anymore. News of their fight was spreading across the galaxy. That afternoon, Park Jin-woo made the most important decision of his life. He was tired of helping the Council while his own people suffered. When his supervisor asked him to process orders for moving more human children to conditioning centers, he refused. "I will not do this anymore," he told the surprised alien. "Find someone else to help you destroy families. You forget your place, human. You serve the Council now." No, Jinwoo said quietly. I serve my people. I always have, even when I pretended to serve you. Before the alien could react, Jinwoo activated a virus that Seokjin had hidden in the computer systems months ago. Every screen in the building began showing images of human history, art, and culture. Music played from the speakers. Colors filled the gray walls with projections of Earth's beauty. The council guards tried to stop him, but Jinwoo had already sent the virus to other administrative buildings across the city. Within minutes, the carefully controlled world of the human settlements was filled with reminders of what they had lost and what they were fighting to regain. In the mountains, Minji led her first major operation using the weapons they had found in the hidden facility. 20 resistance fighters attacked a council transport convoy carrying rare metals off-world. The human weapons worked perfectly, responding to their thoughts and adapting to the situation. The council guards were completely surprised. Their energy shields, designed to stop conventional weapons, were useless against the hybrid human-alien technology. In 15 minutes, the resistance had captured 3 transport ships and enough equipment to arm 100 more fighters. But the most important part of the victory was what happened next. Bae Young-ho, a former teacher who had joined the resistance, began broadcasting from the captured ships. He spoke to the galaxy about human culture and values. We are not the dangerous virus that the council claims we are, Young-ho said in his calm teacher's voice. We are a people who believe in freedom, creativity, and the right to choose our own destiny. We do not want to conquer other worlds. We want to live in peace with all species. The broadcast reached dozens of star systems. On many worlds, people heard about human ideas for the first time. They learned about democracy, art, science, and the belief that all intelligent beings deserved basic rights. Yang Soo-min had been watching the council's reaction to the resistance activities. What she saw made her both excited and terrified. The aliens were genuinely frightened by what was happening. The human contamination is spreading faster than our models predicted, she heard Dr. Vex tell another scientist. 3 worlds have declared independence from council control. 2 more are showing signs of unrest. What makes human ideas so infectious? The other scientist asked. It appears to be related to the same brain patterns that make them resistant to our conditioning. Humans have an unusual ability to imagine different possibilities. When they share these ideas with other species, it activates similar thoughts in their minds. Soo-min realized that humanity's greatest weapon was not the technology they had found in the hidden bases. It was their ability to inspire others to think differently about freedom and choice. She also learned something that made her hands shake with fear. The council was preparing a final solution. If they could not control the spread of human ideas, they would destroy Earth completely. Not just kill the humans, but actually break the planet apart so that nothing would be left. She had to warn the resistance immediately. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, something unprecedented was happening. The Zentari, a species that had been under council control for over a century, declared their independence. Their leader broadcast a message across space. The humans of Earth have shown us that resistance is possible. They have proven that the Council's power is not absolute. Today we choose freedom over security, uncertainty over oppression. Within hours, 2 more species followed the Zentari example. The Council's empire was beginning to crack. Hyun-soo intercepted the emergency council communications as their leaders tried to coordinate a response. He learned that the Council was more frightened than they had ever been in their 1,000-year history. The human rebellion was supposed to be contained to one small world, one council leader said in panic. How has it spread to 17 different systems in just 3 days? Human communication methods are more advanced than we realized, another replied. They have created networks that bypass our monitoring systems completely. Then we must act quickly. Prepare the planet-killer weapons. We will destroy Earth and make an example that the entire galaxy will remember. Hyun-soo knew he had heard the Council's death sentence for humanity. But he also knew something the aliens did not realize. The resistance was no longer just on Earth. There were now dozens of species across the galaxy who were willing to fight for the same principles that humans believed in. That night, Taeho stood in the main chamber of the hidden facility, now bustling with activity as more humans arrived with equipment and weapons from other sites. Minji was coordinating attacks across multiple continents. Da-bin had established communication links with resistance groups on 12 different worlds. They are going to try to destroy Earth, Sumin told the group after arriving with her intelligence about the Council's plans. But I do not think they can do it anymore. Why not? Teho asked. Because they are fighting a war on too many fronts now. Half their fleet is trying to stop rebellions on other worlds. They do not have enough ships to break through our defenses and destroy the planet. Young-ho smiled from his communication station. And more species are joining us every day. I just received messages from the HFY Federation and the Silicon Collective. They want to coordinate joint operations against Council forces. For the first time since the invasion began, the humans were not alone. They had allies, weapons, and hope. The Council's empire was crumbling, and a new kind of galactic civilization was beginning to emerge. But Teho knew the hardest fighting was still ahead. The Council would not give up without a final, desperate battle. Jae-sung had been a ship captain before the Council invasion. Now he stood on the bridge of humanity's first interstellar warship, built with the hybrid technology from the hidden facilities. The ship looked strange, part human engineering and part alien design, but it flew better than anything either species had created alone. Captain, we are approaching the Zentari system, reported his navigation officer. Their fleet is waiting for us. Through the main screen, Jae-sung could see dozens of alien ships arranged in formation. 6 months ago, these same aliens had been subjects of the Council. Now they were Earth's allies in the fight for galactic freedom. Open communication with the Zentari fleet commander, Jae-sung ordered. The screen showed a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms and kind eyes. Captain O, welcome to free space. I am Commander Thrix. We have been looking forward to fighting beside the legendary humans. Legendary? Jae-sung was surprised. We are just people trying to protect our families. That is exactly what makes you legendary. On my world, children sing songs about the humans who chose to fight instead of accept slavery. Your courage has inspired an entire galaxy. The combined human and Zentari fleet moved toward a Council stronghold on a nearby planet. Intelligence reports showed that the Council was using this base to coordinate attacks against the rebel worlds. If they could capture it, the entire sector would be free from Council control. Back on Earth, Yang Su-min was working in a new laboratory built inside one of the mountain facilities. She had discovered something amazing about the hybrid human-alien technology. It was not just combining human and alien science. It was evolving on its own. Look at this, she told Teho as she showed him a weapon that had changed since yesterday. The weapon scanned its user and modified itself to work better for that specific person. It learned from how they held it, how they moved, even how they thought. That should be impossible, Teho said. Not impossible, just something that neither humans nor the Council species could do alone. When human creativity meets alien technical knowledge, it creates something entirely new. This discovery explained why the resistance was becoming stronger every day. Every time they used the hybrid technology, it got better at helping them. Every battle taught the weapons and ships how to fight more effectively. Meanwhile, Nam Ji-hyun was in a conference room that existed only in virtual space, meeting with representatives from 17 different alien species. She had become humanity's first galactic ambassador, helping to coordinate the growing rebellion. The Council has offered to negotiate, said the representative from the HFY Federation, a species that looked like intelligent dolphins with arms. They want to discuss terms for ending the conflict. What kind of terms? Ji-hyun asked. They will allow some limited independence for rebel worlds, but Earth must be returned to Council control. They say humans are too dangerous to be allowed complete freedom. And what do you think of this offer? The HFY representative made a sound that might have been laughter. We think the Council is more frightened than they want to admit. They are offering negotiations because they know they cannot win a military victory. A crystalline being from the Silicon Collective spoke next. Our analysis shows that the Council has lost control of 37% of their territory. Their economic system is collapsing as more worlds stop sending tribute. Ji-hyun felt hope growing in her chest. The rebellion was working better than anyone had dreamed possible. We reject their offer, she said firmly. Freedom cannot be negotiated. Either all species are free to choose their own destiny, or the fighting continues. The other representatives agreed. The alliance was stronger than the Council had expected. On Earth, Lee Dobbin had expanded her communication network to cover most of the galaxy. She was intercepting council messages and coordinating resistance activities across dozens of worlds simultaneously. Her small device from the alley had become the nerve center of a galactic revolution. "Dobbin, you need to see this," called Seok Jin from his computer station. "I am picking up a massive council fleet movement. They are gathering ships from all over the galaxy." "Where are they going?" "Here, to Earth. It looks like they are preparing for one final assault." Dobbin felt a chill of fear. The fleet on the scanner was enormous. Hundreds of ships, including the Council's most powerful battlecruisers. But then she noticed something else. "Seokjin, look at these other readings." "Those are not all Council ships. You are right. Some of these signatures match the species that have declared independence. It looks like..." He paused as he analyzed the data. "It looks like both sides are gathering for a final battle." Across the galaxy, Quan Taimin was leading a relief mission to a world that had just broken free from Council control. The people there had been living under harsh conditions for decades. Taimin and his team brought food, medical supplies, and engineers to help rebuild their damaged cities. "Why do you help us?" asked a local leader who looked like a giant insect with wise eyes. "Your own world is under attack. You should keep your resources for your own defense." "That is not how humans think," Taimin explained. "We believe that helping others makes everyone stronger. When you are free and prosperous, you can help other worlds gain their freedom too." The alien leader was quiet for a moment. "The Council told us that humans were selfish and violent. They said you would exploit us if given the chance." "Maybe some humans would," Taimin admitted. "We are not perfect. But most of us believe in treating others the way we want to be treated." This simple human philosophy was spreading across the galaxy, along with the rebellion. Species that had been enemies for centuries were learning to work together. The Council's empire of fear and control was being replaced by voluntary cooperation and mutual respect. But even as the alliance grew stronger, everyone knew that the final test was coming. The Council was gathering their remaining forces for one last attempt to crush the rebellion and destroy Earth. Minji was now commanding the defense of the entire planet. The hidden facilities had produced enough weapons and ships to give Earth a real chance in the coming battle. But the Council fleet was still much larger than anything the humans could field. "We do not have to win," she told her officers during the final planning meeting. "We just have to survive long enough for our allies to arrive." "How long will that take?" asked one of the younger commanders. "Captain O's fleet is 3 days away. The Zentari and Aquari forces are 5 days out. The Silicon Collective is 6 days behind them. And the Council fleet will be here in 2 days," Teho added grimly. "Then we hold for 4 days," Minji said simply. "Earth has survived Council occupation for 15 years. We can survive 4 more days of fighting." As the resistance leaders made their final preparations, they knew that the next few days would determine not just the fate of Earth, but the future of freedom throughout the galaxy. The Council's 1,000-year empire would either crush this rebellion completely, or it would fall forever. Either way, humans had already changed the galaxy. They had shown that resistance was possible, that different species could work together, and that freedom was worth any price. The final battle was coming, and both sides knew that everything would be decided soon. Song Yoonji had been staring at the computer screen for 6 hours straight. As a former systems analyst, she was trying to understand the most complex network she had ever seen. The Council had built something that connected every world in the galaxy, not just for communication, but for control. "This is incredible," she told Sumin, who was working beside her in the hidden laboratory. "The Council has been using this network to slow down technological and cultural development on every world they control. They have been keeping the entire galaxy in the Stone Age for centuries. How does it work? Every time a species tries to advance too quickly, better technology, new art, different political ideas, the network sends signals that make their leaders more conservative and fearful of change." Yoonji pointed to the complex diagrams on her screen. "It explains why so many worlds accepted Council control without fighting. They were literally being programmed to avoid risk and progress. Can we shut it down? Maybe. But if we do, it might destabilize every civilization in the galaxy. Imagine if billions of people suddenly started thinking freely after centuries of mental suppression." Sumin was quiet for a moment. "That might be exactly what the galaxy needs." Above them, the sky was full of ships. The Council fleet had arrived exactly when Minji predicted. Hundreds of massive warships filled Earth's orbit, their weapons pointed at the planet below, but the humans were ready. The hybrid technology had produced surprises that amazed even the people who built it. Earth's defensive systems had grown and adapted over the past few days. What had started as simple weapons and shields had become a living network that responded to threats faster than any computer. Tae-ho stood in the main command center, watching the displays that showed both the Council fleet and the human defenses. Around him, former miners and factory workers operated weapon systems that would have impressed the Galaxy's best military engineers. Council fleet is transmitting a message, reported Dabin from her communication station. The main screen showed the face of the Council's supreme commander, a creature that looked like it was made of living metal. Humans of Earth, you have caused enough chaos. Surrender now and we will make your deaths quick. Send a reply, Tae-ho said calmly. His face appeared on screens throughout the Council fleet. Commander, we appreciate your offer, but we have a better idea. Why don't you surrender to us? The metallic alien looked shocked. You cannot be serious. We have 300 ships. You have barely 50. We have something more important than ships, Tae-ho replied. We have friends. At that moment, the first Allied fleet dropped out of hyperspace. Captain O's ships appeared behind the Council forces, followed immediately by the Zentari fleet. Then came the Aquari, the Silicon Collective, and a dozen other species. Within minutes, the Council fleet found itself outnumbered and surrounded. But the Council commander was not finished. Even if you win this battle, you have doomed the galaxy. Without our control, civilization will collapse into chaos and war. Maybe, admitted Tae-ho, but that will be their choice to make. The battle that followed was unlike anything in galactic history. The Council forces fought with the desperation of a dying empire. The Allied forces fought with the passion of the newly free. In space around Earth, ships from dozens of species worked together with coordination that should have been impossible. The key to victory came from an unexpected source. Young-ho, still broadcasting from his communication station, spoke directly to the crews of the Council ships. You do not have to die for your leader's fears, he said in the calm voice that had inspired so many worlds. Many of your own species have already chosen freedom. Join them. Join us. One by one, Council ships began to surrender. Their crews had been listening to the rebel broadcasts for months. They had heard about the alliance of free worlds, about species working together as equals instead of rulers and subjects. The Council's supreme commander made one final, desperate choice. He activated the network that Yoonji had been studying, not to maintain control but to destroy every advanced civilization in the galaxy. If the Council could not rule, then no one would. Yoonji, we need that network shut down now. Minji called over the communication system. I am trying, but it is too complex for one person to handle. Yoonji replied desperately. Then do not do it alone, said a voice she did not recognize. Suddenly, her computer was connected to systems all over the galaxy. Scientists from the Silicon Collective, engineers from the Aquari Federation, technicians from a dozen other species, all working together to solve the same problem. This is impossible, Sunji whispered as she watched alien minds working with human creativity to untangle the Council's control network. No one has ever coordinated this many different species on a single project. Impossible until today, replied one of the Silicon Collective minds. Humans have taught us that different ways of thinking make us stronger, not weaker. Together, they found the solution. But shutting down the network safely required precise timing from every world in the galaxy. It needed the kind of coordination that the Council had always said was impossible between different species. Ryu Minho had been working for weeks on communication, protocols that could handle this exact situation. His background in architecture helped him design information networks the same way he once designed buildings. Strong, flexible, and able to grow over time. All worlds report ready, he announced as the countdown began. Beginning shutdown sequence, Yoonji said. Across the galaxy, on thousands of different worlds, billions of intelligent beings felt something change in their minds. The subtle pressure that had held back their curiosity and creativity for centuries suddenly disappeared. On some worlds, the change caused confusion. On others, it led to celebration. But nowhere did it cause the chaos and destruction that the Council had predicted. Instead, species that had been enemies began talking to each other. Old problems were solved with new ideas. Art and science flourished in ways that had not been seen for millennia. The Council's supreme commander watched his fleet surrender and his control network shut down. "You have no idea what you have done," he said to Taeho. "Without central authority, the galaxy will tear itself apart." "You are probably wrong," Taeho replied. "But even if you are right, it will be their choice. Freedom includes the right to make mistakes." In the months that followed, representatives from hundreds of worlds met to create something new. Not an empire ruled from the center, but a federation where each species could choose its own path while cooperating on common problems. Ji Hyun became the first Secretary General of the Galactic Federation. Her first speech was broadcast to every world. "We do not promise you perfection. We do not promise you safety. We promise you something more valuable, the right to choose your own destiny. Some worlds may choose isolation. Others may choose close cooperation. All choices will be respected as long as they do not harm others." The Council's empire had lasted 1,000 years. The Galactic Federation was still taking its first steps. But children across the galaxy were already growing up in a universe where different species learned from each other, instead of fearing each other. Taeho returned to engineering, but now he was designing ships that would carry diplomats and scientists instead of soldiers. Minji became the Federation's first defense coordinator, ensuring that no single species could ever dominate the galaxy again. Dobbin's communication network became the foundation for galactic education. For the first time in centuries, different species could learn from each other freely. One evening, as Earth's sun set over the mountains where the hidden facilities had been discovered, Taeho stood with his friends and looked up at the stars. "Do you think we did the right thing?" he asked. "Ask me in 100 years, Suman replied. "But I think our children will have opportunities that we never imagined possible. And if some worlds choose badly, then their children will learn from those mistakes and choose better," said Jinwoo. "That is how humans have always progressed. Now the entire galaxy can learn the same way." The stars looked different now. They were not points of light in an empire ruled by fear. They were homes to billions of intelligent beings who were free to dream their own dreams and build their own futures. The age of the Council was over. The age of cooperation had begun.